Parents took an $80,000 loan using my name without warning me to fund my entitled sister's second wedding, then claimed I owed them since they raised me. So I called the police and completely destroyed the wedding publicly. Can you even imagine discovering your own parents, the people who raised you, secretly took out an $80,000 loan in your name just to pay for your sister's second wedding? And then, when you confront them, they actually tell you you owe them for raising you. I couldn't believe it, and that was just the beginning of how I finally brought their whole perfect charade crashing down. For years I tried to be the good kid, the responsible one. Straight A's, helped around the house, never caused trouble. But in my parents' eyes, Trisha and Marshall, I was practically invisible. Because everything, and I mean everything, revolved around my younger sister, Tia. She was their golden child, the one who could do no wrong. And I was just there. So, maybe it shouldn't have been a shock when I found out they'd taken out an $80,000 loan in my name. Not theirs.
Mine.
And for what? To fund Tia's lavish second wedding. But even with a lifetime of this kind of blatant favoritism, hearing those words, it still hit me like a punch to the gut. Tia, bless her heart, at 28, decided to tie the knot with a guy named Ronald. Their relationship? Rocky, to put it mildly, even before I do. But did that stop my parents? Oh no. They threw her this massive, extravagant wedding. I wasn't even involved in the planning. It felt more like their big show than a genuine celebration of Tia and Ronald. Naturally, it crashed and burned 2 years later.
Divorce.
Then came the finding myself phase, which, honestly, was just exhausting to listen to. Fast forward a few months, and guess what? Tia's engaged again. This time to Jim, some guy she met at a yoga retreat. My parents? Thrilled. Absolutely over the moon. They started planning her second wedding like it was going to be the event of the century. Again, I was a ghost. Zero input. It was all about Tia and Jim. And that, my friends, is when the real financial nightmare began. One day, my dad, Marshall, calls me up. Casual chat. Hey, have you seen the news about interest rates and loans? I thought nothing of it. Until he dropped the bomb. He and Mom had taken out an $80,000 loan for Tia's wedding. And the kicker? It was in my name. I swear, my blood ran cold.
How could they do that?
Without asking? Without even a whisper? When I confronted them, their response was chilling. You owe us, they said. Everything we've done for you, raising you, feeding you, sending you to school, that's worth far more than $80,000. Can you believe it? They basically told me my entire childhood, all the normal things parents do, was just a down payment on this debt. And then they added, as our firstborn, it's your responsibility to help out. Like I was some kind of family ATM. My dad, he just kept saying how important it was for Tia's second wedding to be perfect because this time it was going to last forever. Jim was the one. They didn't want anything standing in the way of their daughter's dream. So, their solution? Use me. Use my name. It was sickening. Why was I always the one who had to pay? Tia was getting married again, not me. She'd already had her shot, and it didn't work out. But now, it was my credit on the line for her perfect second chance. And the worst part? They didn't even tell Tia about the loan.
She doesn't need to know, they said.
It's easier just to take the money from you. Easier for them, maybe. They could have paid for it themselves. But they chose to make me responsible. No regard for the consequences for my life. When I tried to talk to Tia about it, she just brushed me off. Like it was nothing. You're overreacting, she said. Everything will be fine. Trust me. Fine for her, maybe. While she was planning her forever wedding, I was stuck with an $80,000 debt. They were all just floating through life, oblivious, while I was drowning. My blood boiled. My entire life, I'd been supportive. I picked up their messes. But this was a new low. I was being financially exploited to fuel their golden child's fantasy. I started looking into how to get this loan off my name. It wasn't easy. The more I researched, the deeper the hole looked. My credit was going to take a massive hit. Even if I fixed it, I couldn't unsee what my parents had done. They decided I owed them. This wasn't about love or family. It was about control and entitlement. The wedding day approached. An extravagant affair. A stunning countryside venue. No expense spared, of course. My parents bragged about the cost like it was a trophy. Tia was glowing, convinced this marriage was the one. It was like the first disaster never even happened. The day arrived. I told myself I wouldn't make a scene.
It was Tia's day, right?
But as I watched her walk down the aisle, radiant, beautiful, something inside me just broke. My parents, Trisha and Marshall, beaming with pride, posing for photos, playing the perfect family. I felt like a stranger, a prop. I was there because I had to be to complete their picture. But all I could think about was the financial noose around my neck, tightening with every smile, every flash of the camera. The reception was a blur of beautiful decor, endless champagne, and fake laughter. I sat at the back, just observing, the weight of the loan pressing down on me. The anger, the absolute fury that they would use me, without even telling Tia. I'd been talking to a lawyer, trying to resolve it quietly, but then it hit me. They were never going to take responsibility. They would never admit their mistake. So I made a decision. A final, irreversible one. I wasn't going to let them get away with it. And Tia? She needed to know the truth. I stepped outside, needing air, but the anger just solidified into cold, hard resolve. It wasn't just the money. It was the pattern, the way they'd always treated me. As their convenient cleanup crew. I was done. And then I saw it. A car pulling up. Flashing lights. My heart began to pound, but not from fear. From a grim satisfaction. A police car. Oh, I knew exactly what I had to do. The plan I'd been meticulously crafting for days was about to unfold. The officers walked into the venue. My parents, caught up in their perfect day, didn't even notice at first. But when those officers approached them, their smiles, they just vanished. The tension was instant. Panic flashed in their eyes. I stayed back, watching it all. No yelling. No screaming. I'd said my piece. Now they had to deal with the mess they created. I could hear snippets of the conversation. But it wasn't my job to explain. They made the bed, now they had to lie in it. Then Tia finally realized. She rushed over, confused, upset. She had no idea. My parents had shielded her from the truth, always. And now, she was seeing their carefully constructed reality crumble. She tried to talk to them, but they were too deep in their own panic. The guests were whispering. The perfect wedding? Utter chaos.
A mess.
But you know what? A small victory. Someone was finally holding them accountable. The wedding was effectively ruined. The officers left, but the damage was done. Their perfect day was a disaster. And I didn't feel sorry. Not one bit. Actions have consequences. It was time they learned that. Update 1, *, so. That was just the beginning. The wedding disaster? Child's play compared to what happened next. I braced myself for the usual. Angry texts, silent treatment from Tia. But it spiraled.
Fast.
A few days later, my mom, Trisha, shows up at my apartment. Unannounced. I didn't want to open the door, but she kept banging. So I did. And she went off, yelling about how I ruined Tia's life, how selfish I was for not supporting my sister, how they sacrificed for me. Sacrificed what? They put me in debt without my consent. And this small thing I did? It was ruining their precious family reputation. But then the crazy part.
She pulls out a contract.
She and my dad, they'd talked to a lawyer. They drafted a legal agreement stating I owed them money for damaging the family's reputation and costing Tia's wedding. I'm not kidding. They wanted me to pay for the whole damn wedding. $80,000. The exact amount they fraudulently took out in my name. They were trying to manipulate me into paying back their loan, making me responsible for their choices. It was beyond surreal. I just stood there, stunned, holding this ridiculous piece of paper. If I didn't pay them back, they'd sue me for defamation and emotional damages. How is this even real? And then, while Mom's still there, my dad, Marshall, calls. Turns out, they were planning to confront Tia about what I'd done. Blaming me for ruining her life, for causing a rift between her and Jim. Because I was the one hiding secrets and committing fraud, right? Then, the final boss appeared.
Tia.
She showed up, thinking my parents were there to fix things with me, hoping for her moment of forgiveness. Instead, it became an all-out war. She started screaming, "You ruined my dream wedding. I'll never forgive you." She actually said she couldn't believe I'd take away her happiness because of some stupid loan. Stupid loan. My mind was officially blown. I snapped. "I didn't ruin your wedding, Tia.
They did.
Our parents used me as a pawn, and you were too busy playing princess to even notice." I told her if anyone owed an apology, it was her for letting them manipulate me. But she didn't listen. She just yelled that I was dramatic and should pay the damn money and move on. "No way, Tia," I told her. "I am not paying for your perfect wedding. Not after all this." And then, like a bad sitcom, Jim, her fiancé, walks in. He'd been in contact with my parents, apparently. He saw the chaos, and instead of diffusing it, he started yelling at me, blaming me for destroying everything, saying I had no right to talk to Tia like that. That was it. The last straw. I told Jim to stay out of it, that he had no idea what was really going on. I was done pretending. I realized how toxic it all was. Entitled to my money, my time, and my energy. I had nothing left to give. So I left, packed a bag, grabbed my essentials, stayed with a friend. I needed space. I needed to be somewhere my family couldn't just show up. They kept texting, demanding I come back. But I don't know if I can ever go back.
Too much was broken.
I'm still figuring out what to do, what my next step is. Do I take legal action? Do I let them drag me through the mud? I honestly don't know. But right now, I'm just focusing on myself. I need to rebuild and find some peace because I haven't had it in a very long time. Update 2 *, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, it did. My parents and Tia? They decided making my life miserable was their new mission. Every time I hoped for calm, they found a new way to escalate. A few days later, my bank called. Someone tried to access my online account. An attempt to transfer a large sum of money directly to my parents. My stomach dropped. They flagged it as suspicious, thankfully, so it didn't go through. But the attempt, that was the shocker.
How?
The bank explained whoever tried it had access to some of my personal information. It had to be them. My own parents trying to steal from me. I called my mom to confront her. She acted completely clueless. "Why would we do that? You must be mistaken." But her voice was shaky, defensive. Then she slipped. "This wouldn't have happened if you'd just agreed to pay off the loan." That was it. I hung up. I immediately called the fraud department at my bank. Then my lawyer. I've been hesitant about taking legal action before, thinking about family. But after this, I didn't care anymore. They weren't going to stop until I protected myself. Then Tia jumped back in. An email out of the blue, accusing me of ruining her life. The wedding, Jim, everything. Said I was jealous, wanted her to fail. And then a threat. "Fix things, or I'll tell everyone your big secret." What secret? I have no dark secrets. But she'd make something up. That's Tia. She'll do whatever it takes to play the victim. And then the biggest bombshell. Jim broke up with Tia. I don't know all the details, but apparently, he started asking questions after the wedding drama. I'm guessing he found out about the loan, or just couldn't handle the chaos. Whatever the reason, he was out. And of course, Tia blames me for that too. Says if I hadn't caused problems, Jim wouldn't have questioned things. She's been telling anyone who'll listen that I destroyed her happiness. My parents? Still fully on her side. Non-stop calls, texts. Fake apologies mixed with heavy guilt trips. "You're tearing this family apart. How can you live with yourself after what you've done to Tia?"
It was exhausting.
I blocked Tia everywhere on social media because she kept posting about me, accusing me of being a toxic sibling and selfish. My parents, though, are harder to block. They started showing up at my apartment. I don't answer. But knowing they're outside? Unnerving. I'm even considering a restraining order. Is that too far? My lawyer says I have a strong case for the fraudulent loan. and for the attempted bank transfer. Part of me still felt guilty for even thinking about taking legal action against my own family, but they left me no choice. This whole nightmare, it's left me constantly on edge. Trouble sleeping, anxiety through the roof. But there's a flicker of strength. I know I can't let them walk all over me anymore. They showed me who they truly are. It hurts. It really does. But none of this is my fault. I didn't ask for any of it. I didn't ruin Tia's wedding. They did that all on their own. Now, I'm just focused on protecting myself. I've stopped responding. Working with my lawyer. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. I feel like I'm caught in the middle of a storm, and I don't know how it ends. Update 3 asterisk. It's been a few months. And you know what? Things have finally settled. It wasn't easy, not by a long shot. But I can say, with a deep breath, I'm in a better place. After my parents tried to steal from my bank account, that was it. I filed a police report. It tore me up inside because despite everything, they were still my parents. But I couldn't let them keep doing this. The police investigated. Confirmed it was them. That, combined with the fraudulent loan, gave me everything I needed legally. I worked with my lawyer, and the court ruled in my favor. The $80,000 loan? Officially declared fraudulent. Off my name. My parents? They have to pay it back themselves. It's a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. But it came at a cost. My relationship with them is completely destroyed. They've stopped contacting me. I think they finally realized they couldn't bully me anymore.
Star.
Now they're playing the victims, telling anyone who'll listen that I betrayed them. But I know the truth. And that's all that matters to me now. Tia? She didn't take any of this well. After Jim left, she spiraled. She blames me for everything, the wedding, her breakup, her financial issues. She's moved back in with my parents, from what I hear, and isn't doing great. Still bad-mouthing me on social media, but she's blocked. I'm done with her toxicity. The hardest part? Accepting that my family as I knew it is gone. For years, I hoped they'd change. But they showed me who they truly are. It hurts to let go, but it's the right thing to do. Sometimes, even family can be toxic. You have to put yourself first. I've been rebuilding. Therapy has been huge. It's given me a safe space to process it all. My friends? They've been amazing, reminding me what healthy relationships actually look like. Now, I'm looking forward to a fresh start. For the first time in years, I'm not living under their control, not drowning in their drama. It feels incredibly freeing, even if it's bittersweet. To everyone who supported me through this, thank you. Your kindness, your advice, it gave me strength when I had none left. Am I sad about losing my family?
Yes.
Deeply. But do I feel like I'm finally moving in the right direction, towards a life of my own? Absolutely. So I finally stood up for myself. I cut ties. I fought back. I won. But it came at a huge cost. Now I'm left wondering, have any of you ever faced such a brutal betrayal from your own family? What would you do when the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones trying to steal from you? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd really love to hear your thoughts.